We are extremely pleased that you are here. It is good to come together for the purpose of co-creating. Do you agree?
Yes.
You are knowing what you are wanting. It moves about a bit, yes. You have come to appreciate the contrast that helps you know what you want. Even when you're not getting it. We'd like to torture you a little. Well, it's different, isn't it? When you want something and you have no doubt that it can come about, then that desire is fresh and sweet, isn't it? But when you want something or have felt as if you have wanted it for a while, and not only has it not yet come about, but you don't see any obvious path through which it will come about, so you want it but you doubt it, you want it but you don't believe it, that desire doesn't feel so good, does it? And the reason that desire doesn't feel so good is because your doubt is your indicator that you have an active vibration going on, a chronic pattern of thought that contradicts your own desire. When positive emotion, when you feel joyful or when you feel frisky, that means your thought in the moment holds no contradiction to your broader knowing. You sort of get that? Now, what's your broader knowing? What is your broader knowing? Some say, well, my broader knowing must be the source within me, maybe my soul, maybe the God within me. And we say, certainly good descriptions. But that broader part of you is more than that which you were before you came forth into this body. Because even though you are here so beautifully focused in this physical body, in this time-space reality, there is a much larger part of you, the non-physical part of you, who remains non-physically focused. So even though you're here, you're also here. In other words, the larger part of you is non-physical energy, the older, wiser part of you. Now, it's not just that you were older and wiser before a part of you came forth. It's even more and better. It's that you were older and wiser before you came forth, but after you came forth into this physical body, all day, every day, as you are sifting through the contrast, just like you knew you would, whenever you know what you don't want, you send a rocket of desire of an equal, equivalent desire. In other words, you cannot live contrast without knowing what is wanted when you know what you don't want. So as that desire emanates from you, here's the part that we really want you to hear. That larger non-physical part of you becomes it. The you that was you before you were born just became even more expanded because of you being born. In other words, you caused an expansion of you. Now, this is the description of the evolution of all species, but we want to say to you that as humans, you are among the only species who consistently, without meaning to, keep yourself separated is too strong a word, but you hinder the relationship between you and you. In other words, all of that which exists upon your planet is consciousness having exposure to life. And in all of that consciousness, there is asking. And so because of all of that asking, there is expansion. So the non-physical part of all that is constantly expanding. And we don't think you give yourselves nearly enough credit for that. You don't seem to realize the importance of this contrasting life that you're living and the asking that takes place. It's so important that a while back we wrote a book and gave it the best title that was ever given to a book, because it speaks to this exact point. Ask and it is given. When life causes you to ask, not only is it given, it literally becomes. So our physical friends say, well, oh yeah, then where's my stuff? Because I've been asking and I don't see it. And we say, it has been given and it exists in this non-physical vibrational reality. In a vibrational reality, and you say, big deal. Vibrational reality. Sounds sweet, but where's my stuff? And we say, you have to understand that everything that exists that you see in this physical time-space reality, all this knock-on-wood stuff, all this flesh, blood, bone stuff, all this stuff that you know as your reality was vibrational reality first. First it is thought, then it takes form, you see. And so this vibrational reality, which holds who you really are and everything you want, but more importantly and perfectly said, everything that you've become, this vibrational reality is a reality worth understanding, worth talking about, worth recognizing, and worth attempting resonance with. That means when life caused you to become more, the question is, are you keeping up? Are you going? Are you letting yourself be the more that life caused you to be? And if you are, you feel wonderful. That's what joy, that's what appreciation, that's what love, that's what being tuned in, tapped in, turned on is. That's that frisky, passionate, in love with life, in love with you, in love with things, in love feeling is. But if you feel negative emotion, if you're ornery, if you're irritated about something, if you're fearful, if you're angry, if you're hateful, if you're depressed, if you're on that end of the emotional scale that doesn't feel good, then you are, by virtue of the thought you're thinking right now, pinching yourself off from the resonance. In other words, there's a gap between you and you. But there's something even more that we want you to understand, because we know many of you have been listening to us for a while, and you get this emotional scale. You know that on one end of it you feel wonderful, and on the other end of it you don't feel good. And you have a sense of the emotional guidance that that's all about. But we want to lay out for you here today in terms that you just cannot miss, that the reason that you ever feel negative emotion is because you, in your physical body, have caused an expansion of the total you. And now you, in your physical body, aren't keeping up. So if it were not for your life which caused you to expand, your not going wouldn't be a problem. In other words, if someone called you on the telephone and said, hello, you don't know me, I'm just calling to tell you I will never call you again, you would say, all righty then. But if someone you really care about were to tell you that, that contrasting experience would cause you to launch a powerful rocket of desire. And because you've expanded in a new place, now the evidence that you're looking at is so far from the expansion that you've taken, you would feel the vibrational discord. There would not be the resonance or harmony. There would not be the alignment that you are really reaching for. So you've come forth explicitly to explore contrast. And some say, Abraham, I don't really get this. If I was pure positive energy with no resistance before I came into this body, tell me again, why did I come forth into this body? I wanted contrast. Is that what you're saying, you crazy non-physical ghost? Is that what you're saying? I wanted this contrast. And we say, oh, you did. You wanted the contrast because you wanted the expansion. But you did not plan on hanging around in separation from the expansion. You said, I'll go forth, I'll explore contrast. The contrast will inspire my new desire. And when the new desire is inspired, I will turn my undivided attention toward it. But sometimes what happens is, you've had the experience when some dear person in your life just bugs the life out of you. Just harasses you and harasses you and harasses you into expansion, 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 expansion. There are people who are responsible for the majority of your expansion, in fact. So here you are, this expanded being, soaring with all of this new becoming, but you in your physical form are focused upon this person who's irritating you. So it's so interesting that the person who caused you such expansion, you are now using as your excuse not to expand. That's why you're extra, extra mad at them, you see. Because they're hooked in with you. You're tied together as this collaboratively co-creative partnership.